Middleweight naked motorcycles of the modern age are designed to deliver the thrills of 1,000 without any of the licence-losing danger that comes with a 200 bhp machine. But aside from that, they have to be comfortable enough for distance and everyday work, accessible for riders moving up the ranks, and funky enough to entice newer riders onto the scene. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Two bikes that seem to tick all the above mentioned boxes are the revised for this year Kawasaki Z900 and the new KTM 890 Duke R. For 2020, the Kawasaki gained a slinky looking TFT dash and the all-important traction control and rider modes. It also got a light makeover, although with more than 30,000 of these things sold in the last 4 years, the changes visually are subtle. The KTM, on the other hand, got a more thorough going over, with the most notable change being the addition of an R to its name. Now, we all know that adding an R to the letter of a bike's model name gives it an extra 10 bhp, but KTM didn't even want to stop there. The 890 Duke R also got a capacity hike over the previous generation, taking it up to 890cc. It also gets more power, torque and goodies than ever before. To ride, these bikes are both very different machines. The Kawasaki is a nicer place to be, with a more relaxed riding position and easygoing rider triangle. The KTM is part naked, part supermoto, part race bike, with you seeming to sit with your chin over the front wheel no matter how you position yourself. Once on the move, the tale of two bikes continues. For less experienced pilots, the KTM will feel very point and squirt, while more experienced hands will welcome its fast turning dynamics and racy geometry. I've ridden both the old 790 Duke and latest 890 Duke R at length and always found the bike to be one of the most accurate bikes on the planet. Pick a postage stamp stuck to an apex of a corner and it will hit it like an Exocet missile. The thing is that away from scaring the scenery out in the countryside, the firm's setup can be a little bit jarring over long distances, and especially on Britain's potholed roads. The Z900, on the other hand, is a typical case study in Kawasaki naked design. It's relaxed and compliant on gentler rides, while more than willing to go hunting out apexes should you need it to. The ride quality of the Kawasaki is much more refined than the KTM too, with the adjustable front and rear suspension offering enough feel and feedback to let you accurately find your way to the bike's limit. The trade-off is that the bike isn't quite so accurate in certain scenarios, like track riding, although it is more than up to the task of keeping any rider of pretty much any level more than entertained. Engine-wise, both bikes have seen some major updates for 2020, although both give out around 120 bhp, around about the same amount of torque. It's actually quite a close contest. The Z900 though instantly wins my heart, and it did on the launch in Spain at the end of last year. It's a silky smooth lump of utter loveliness, with one of the best stock exhaust notes this side of a factory world superbike. The engine is super tractable, with bags of low down grunt and mid-range, all making it great for town riding. The throttle connection is also excellent, having been updated for the 2020 model. Once out of the town and onto the open road, it allows you to confidently and smoothly pick the bike up on the power and make the most of the 120 odd bhp. The KTM's engine is slightly less refined when directly compared to the Kawasaki, although it is a parallel twin and some of that character kinda goes with the territory, doesn't it? It is though a more easy to use unit than the one found in the previous generation 790 Duke, with the fuelling at high and low speed both being greatly improved over the 790. Another area of massive improvement with this bike is the quick shifter, which was always a fickle thing to use on the previous model. On the 890 though, it worked really well for me, shifting smoothly at low and high speed and complementing the bike with some nice pops and bangs on the upshifts and downshifts. As I mentioned at the start, the Kawasaki gained some bonus electronics over the older generation Z900 in the form of traction control and engine power modes. It's all switchable through the left-hand switch cube and can be done on the fly as well. While the Kawasaki electronics are handy, they aren't sports bike rivaling, and they affirm that this machine is much more of a road bike than a track day tool. The KTM though is a bevy of top spec gadgets and gizmos. The most important is the new 6-axis IMU controlling the ABS and traction control functions. After that you have riding modes from rain right through to track. The 890 Duke R also features wheelie control and slip control, which is a bit like an electronic slipper clutch. It also gets launch control. I mean, this is really sports bike territory. But to gain access to some of these modes, you will have to end up paying out some dough. The tech pack pretty much gets you everything, although it comes in at 655 quid. That makes it a bit of a grudge payment when the technician turning it on will just plug in a dongle and upload some software to the ECU. And while we're on the subject of money, how do these bikes shape up price-wise? The KTM and all its whiz-bang gizmos and track day prowess comes in at £10,399, although with some enticing deals you could land one for around 140 quid a month on a PCP. That's based on a £2,500 deposit. The Kawasaki, on the other hand, comes in at 8,899 quid, or £87 on a PCP, and that is based on the same £2,500 deposit. There is a big gap in the single payment and PCP deal on that one. Although, to be fair to the KTM, the Kawasaki is an older bike and has gone through more development cycles, and after that the cost of the original manufacturing and tooling does take that price down slightly. After mulling over this one long and hard, the final result is very close. The KTM, it does offer levels of control and accuracy that very fast road riders and track day junkies will find very hard to resist. But for 75% of riders, the subtle nuances and electronic support will just go over their heads. Plus, you don't spend every day on track on a bike like this. It has to be a more all-around solution to the naked bike problem. That's why we'd choose the Kawasaki Z900 if we're picking between the two, and to back that up with some facts, I actually did. I've been running a Z900 around all year and I have found it to be everything that I want and need from a naked motorcycle. For the price, the rideability and the way it makes you feel, there is no better sub 1000cc naked on the market.